And now I'm going to get into some other parts of the football operation that, you know, got to get into it, I guess. First, as far as we're playing Virginia Tech this weekend. The Virginia side calls it Rivalry Week. I don't know that Virginia Tech thinks of it that way. I wrote a column on this week. The Hammer doesn't consider the nail a rival. We as UVA fans can understand how the nail feels. Uh, Tony Elliott was asked about this at length and talked about it at length in his presser this week. Let's just point out some numbers here. UVA has won twice since the last time the Cavaliers won down in Blacksburg in 1998. I was at that game, man. That was a end of a stretch where UVA had won 8 out of 12 in the series. Um, not quite the dominance we've seen since from Virginia Tech, but at that time it felt pretty dominant. 8 out of 12 against, I mean, those are two rather evenly matched programs at that time for that 12-year period. And Virginia, was able to, get on top. That 98 win, for example, was a second in a row. They had one in Charlottesville the year before, one in Blacksburg. That was the comeback win. The Ahmad Hawkins scores on a 49-yard touchdown pass, I believe it was, with 2:01 on the clock win. It was 27, was it 27-7 at halftime? I was getting in the stadium and thinking, I'm gonna get in the car and go home if this one doesn't get any better. It was a warm day in Blacksburg, an unusually warm late November day. I want to say, memories, it felt like it was 70 degrees down there, in late November in Bleaksburg. And yeah, thought at that time, man, this is going to continue this way. It's going to be back and forth for the next 25 years. Hadn't been the case. How this is personal for me, my wife Crystal is a UVA alum, excuse me, Virginia Tech alum. We started dating in 1999, so a year after that, the game down in Blacksburg, the Virginia won. We got married in 2000. Since we started dating, Virginia is 2-22 in these games. Also, I should mention that, she doesn't come from a big family, and the family that's based here in Virginia that she has, let's see, she's got two first cousins and a sister. The sister was a athletic trainer at the University of Miami. The two cousins were Virginia Tech, are Virginia Tech grads. They have their oldest kid is a Virginia Tech student this year. This is a Tech family for the most part. Thanksgiving weekends have sucked for me for so long. We see these folks a lot. They're good people, but man, it's going 2-22. And how many times after this game have I had to explain why this coach just got fired or why this coach should get fired? Um, now, um, y- you know, it's one of those things where obviously in the last few years their program has not done very well either. And we kind of go back and forth on that, right? As the family, the only thing I've got to hang my hat on is that they have that empty trophy case, which they don't actually have it anymore. The Frank Beamer famously, during his tenure there, when they were having all those 10-win seasons, they put a trophy case in the football facility, left it empty because that signified that they wanted to win a national championship, and they never. Virginia Tech hadn't won a national championship in anything, much less in football, and they've since gotten rid of the trophy case. Um, I don't point this out, but I leave it in my head to want to blurt out at some point if I ever have to. We've been number one in football. For 3 weeks in 1990, Virginia was number one in the country in football. Tech's never been number one. They were number two. Played a national championship game in 1999, but they've never been number one in football, which is the sport they care about. Um, and they haven't been any better at this since Frank Beamer retired. In fact, his second to last season, 2014, they were 5-6 going into the UVA game, had to get a win to go into a bowl. 2015, 5-6 going into the bowl game with Frank Beamer as the coach, had to win the game to go into a bowl. Five times in the last 9 games, the Virginia Tech Hokies football team has been 5-6 going into the Virginia game, needing to get a win to get into a bowl. Virginia Tech is 5-0 in those games. Um, it doesn't matter that they suck; they still run our side into the ground. I mean, I shouldn't say it. It's not been not all these have been run into the ground. The 2014 and 2015 games. Let's see, 2014, Virginia had a lead in the last 3 minutes, gave up a touchdown late, lost down in Blacksburg. 2015, Virginia had two separate leads of a touchdown in the fourth quarter in Charlottesville. Tech rallied, scored a touchdown on the next possession each time, eventually kicked the game-winning field goal, won that game 23-20. So the one game was 24-20, the one game was 23-20. 2018, that was a much better Virginia team. That team came into that game with a 7-3 record and had the game won. I mean, gosh, they had the lead late. There was a 4th and 10 on Tech's side of the field where they just threw a prayer pass at midfield that their guy out jumped two of our guys, first down. Then they fumbled the ball. The ball's laying in the end zone. There's three Virginia guys standing around the ball, and the a Tech guy dives in and recovers it for a touchdown to send the game to overtime. They kick a field goal. Virginia fumbles. Bryce Perkins fumbles on a play that if he doesn't fumble, it's a touchdown. I mean, everything that could go wrong on that one did. Final score of that one, 38-34. So it's 24-20, 23-20, 38-34. The last two have been beatdowns. Last year, 55-17, and we all remember that. We don't want to talk about that anymore. But even they win the games. So going into this one now, both these teams are 5-6. Virginia at 5-6. This is an improvement. The last two seasons under Tony Elliott, first 2 years of Tony Elliott, 3-7, 3-9. This year going into the season, Virginia picked by the writers to go to be 16th in the 17-team ACC. So 5-6 with a chance to beat your rival and go to a bowl. In some cases, in some ways, you look at that, you'll take it. In other ways, there have been at least one game, maybe two, that Virginia blew in this stretch to get to the stage, but they should have already been in the bowl. But 5-6 after being picked 16th in the league, yeah, we'll take it. The Tech side, 5-6 is a calm down, man. They're in the third year of their coach Brent Pry, and there was talk. I mean, you look at the Chiron drones coming back. Great numbers last year, a lot of depth on both sides of the ball, bringing back a lot of starters. There were whispers, not just in Blacksburg and not just in Hokie Nation, but even down in Charlotte at the ACC kickoff. Man, this team could compete for the ACC title. They might sneak their way in the title game. They're 5-6. That's so we're relatively happy being 5-6 in this game. They're not. And I wrote a story earlier this week. Sergio Render, former Tech offensive lineman, really, really good offensive lineman. Didn't play in the NFL, as it turns out, but was a really, really good, college offensive lineman back in the late 2000s decade. He posted a long message on Twitter about how, well, let me read from it. As a former player, I'm so tired of us being happy to beat UVA. Beating UVA isn't exciting. It isn't exciting to me or anyone else anymore. Any season that we don't make it to the ACC, you meant to say title game, is a busted season. Sick of UVA being the Super Bowl of the season. We have to beat UVA to go to a toilet bowl. What he's saying there basically is beating up the snot-nosed little stepbrothers doing something when the kids down the street keep handing us our asses. That's getting old just to have that be the case, right? And I can say, Sergio, I feel you in that respect. I can totally understand from that side, like how that would be an issue. Um, the problem on our side is, and I've been saying this for years, our guys expect to lose this game. And not that they go into it expecting to lose. I don't want to say that. They don't prepare to lose, but the DNA of this program, the UVA program is, man, we never win this game. The ball's going to bounce a funny way. We're going to make a stupid, some coach is going to make some stupid call. Some guy's not going to line up right. I mean, whatever the case is going to be, something stupid or bad or whatever is going to happen, and it's going to cause us to lose. And on their side, they're expecting the same thing. Either we're going to beat the crap out of them, or they're going to do something stupid, and we're going to win the game. So, um, it's unhealthy because the UVA side. I mean, Bronco Mendenhall took it from one extreme to the other back in his day. If you remember, I'm just thinking out loud here, but his first game, he didn't seem to not take it very seriously. Got blown out, and then it got to a point where he puts a running clock in the Bryan Hall and where they practice, and the clock is counting towards the kickoff of the Tech game. And he won one of the games. He won in 2019, but the 2018 season is the one where, everything was on the line. He really put everything into that game all season, all off season long, and they lost. So, you can either not take it seriously enough, you can take it way too seriously. Either way you go, you're kind of screwed. Um, we'll see how things go with this weekend, obviously, but